What's up? Alex from LearnBeatsFast.com here. In this video, we're gonna learn how to hit a volleyball fast. Not necessarily hard, but on the way up in your jump. So earlier I made a video about why this is advantageous. Basically, in short, it's easier to see the opponent's court and it's easier to get to the ball. It's also easier to actually hit the ball on your max reach when you do. This video is going to make more sense if you have seen that video before this one, but this will also work as a standalone. Anyway, before we jump into actually analyzing the videos of me here, I'll just let you, for some entertainment purpose and for an overview purpose, just have a look at the spikes first. So let's get started with that. All right, so in short, what I'm going to teach you today is a little concept about relative timing. I'm basically going to claim that when you jump in your spike, if as soon as you leave the ground, your left arm or your non-hitting arm, so this is my right that I hit with, and when I load, it will look something like this. If my left arm starts moving down right after I leave the ground, so I don't fly up first, I don't leave the ground first and fly a little bit with my left arm up and then drag it down. If I do that, take it down immediately, I will have better timing with my spiking. So that's basically what I'm gonna try to prove here. We're gonna have a look at 6 different videos and I'll just show you, point out to you what I mean here. Okay, so by the way, this first spike here is kind of funny in a way. It's kind of fun to look at, and it's in some ways it's really good, and in some other ways it's actually really bad. And I'm gonna make a separate video one day about how bad this spike actually is. Anyway, we're talking about part of the reason here today, but we won't go into everything of it. Anyway, what I wanted to point out here is that here I'm leaving the ground, and now at this ground leaving point I want you to focus on the left arm and see that it's still up. We go forward, it's still up. We go forward, it's still up. And here, a few frames after we leave the ground, it starts driving down. And in the beginning it's not super explosively driving down, it gets explosive here somewhere, and then we hit. So because of this, if we now look at my torso instead, my peak of the jump, I'm flying up. Here somewhere is the peak of my jump in terms of height. I don't go up anymore. So that's the top. I'm at the top. I start going down slightly, down even more, and then I hit the ball. I'm basically hitting the ball after the top of my jump. Okay, next example is this one from the intro video for my YouTube channel, where I wrote here, still got some stuff to work on. Can you spot any? So I did this last year when I started to understand this, but I hadn't yet reworked my technique. Anyway, you'll see the same thing here. Leave the ground there. Left arm is in the air, in the air, in the air. Start slowly going down. And there it starts to get like explosively going down. That's the top of the jump, and on the way down, and we hit the ball there. I hope you see this relationship that I'm pointing out here. Okay, so 2 slightly better examples here. We leave the ground, left arm immediately starts moving slowly down after we leave the ground. That's basically the top of the jump, the torso stops, and we hit the ball almost immediately after that. maybe one frame later. And the next example is from the front, so it's a little bit easier to see maybe. We leave the ground, left arm starts moving immediately downwards. And up of jump, and there we hit it. Yeah, and then the two best examples. One thing I should point out, I'm not saying that these are the best spikes in the world, and there's certainly better. There's a lot of moving parts in a spike, and these two last ones are better in terms of this timing thing that I'm trying to point out. So now that that is clear, let's have a look at this. Leave the ground, left arm is back there, starts moving down, 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 down. That's the top of the jump, and there I hit it. So this is actually also maybe one frame late, technically. But it's way better than at least the two first spikes. And then the last example is here. You might notice that this arm swing is kind of smaller, different. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Anyway, here, leave the ground, left arm starts going down. That's the top of the jump, and that's where the ball is hit. Okay, so now you have an overview of what I'm meaning here, and I hope you see the relationship in my videos. If you go out and try this, well, it's a pretty simple cue actually. It's as soon as you leave the ground, have your non-hitting arm start moving downwards, and just kind of see what happens with the hitting arm. Now, there's a few important points here that you also need to think about that I'm going to tell you. One of them is that when you do this, start moving your left arm down immediately, you might be forced to use a smaller arm swing. You might not have the time to go all the way back and hit it like you might be doing now. And this might lead to less hitting power. And there's a lot of different solutions to this that we're not going to go into in this video, but the next video in this video series will talk about one of them. And you don't want to miss that. It's a huge insight that I've had, and I've never seen anyone teach it. And I've actually been debating with myself if I would actually put it out for free on YouTube, or have it in my paid programs instead. But I've decided to actually make a video about it. So you really don't want to miss that next video. Anyway, what I wanted to say here is that the solution will come for more power if this technique makes you lose hitting power. So don't just completely neglect this whole left arm down as soon as you leave the ground idea if you lose initially some power from your hits. Okay, next important point is that this explanation that I'm giving you in this video might work for you. This might make sense for you. But a lot of good coaches know that different people, different things and ways to explain things make sense to them. So I could describe this whole thing in completely other words, which might click better with some people and not with some people. So if this doesn't make sense to you, you're not able to reproduce this movement from what I'm explaining here today, there might be other ways to explain the same thing. I'm not gonna put those out in this video, but just so you don't lose hope if this doesn't work. Okay, next important point is that this explanation, put your left arm down as soon as you leave the ground, is not something that you're gonna focus on for the rest of your life. This goes into a little bit about how we learn new movements. But basically, you might be thinking about it a few times, and when it starts working, you just sort of want to feel what that feels like in your body, because it's easier for your body to reproduce movements that it remembers by feeling rather than description of the movement, if that makes any sense. Won't go too much into that either right now. I'll have full courses that will cover that later, but just wanted to point that out, that try to find the feeling in your body that this description gives you. Okay, another very important point here is that if you change this internal tempo thing, you're basically hitting faster after you leave the ground. That also changes your timing when you should jump relative to the ball. Sometimes people, or quite often people, do the mistake that they try to change the technique, but as they change the technique, their timing gets off, and then they go like, hey, this doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work, because you're actually changing a technique that changes the tempo of things, and that's like a card house leaning against the timing. But if you change the size of one card, then you also need to change the size of the other card. So just so you have that in the back of your mind, if the first times you try this out, you actually mistime the ball, don't give up, just rework the timing as well. Okay, then another important point here is regarding pros. There's actually two things regarding pros. Number one is that there are pros that use a hitting technique more similar to the first two hits that I had here. The ones where they actually do hit on the way down, like this one and the one after this. I'm not going to go into that here. I'm going to make a separate video about why that is the case and why I'm still recommending you to not do this, even though there's pros doing this. But just so you know, that will happen, and there are usually they are quite tall when they do that. Another thing here is that I made this video with video examples of myself, because I'm a little bit scared about copyright stuff and using other people's videos. But as always, when I coach players, and when I claim stuff that other coaches don't really talk about, or like even talk against stuff that other coaches say, which actually happens quite often, I usually or try to always encourage the players to not only believe me, but go and look at the pros and what they do, and if it seems to be true what I'm saying or not. Because a lot of the stuff that I'm saying, I'm just like actually seeing that what most coaches say and what the pros do, it's different. So I'm going to encourage you to go on YouTube and have a look at some pros spiking with this frame by frame method. By the way, if you go on YouTube, there's the dot and comma button on your computer, which gives you a frame back, frame forward function. I earlier made videos about how to analyze videos on YouTube, but I think I forgot to add that dot and comma function in that video. So that's a little bonus tip onto those videos as well. Anyway, go and look and see, does this relationship that I'm claiming here exist? Does it exist in other people than me as well? And if you see someone where it doesn't exist, you should definitely send that video to me, because I want to analyze it too in that case. Okay, and then the last important point here, which is this. Some people have not learned to separate their shoulder from their hips in sideways rotation. So some people go up, when they hit, they go up straight like this, and then they hit like this. So they don't go up here and actually open up their shoulders and then hit. If this is the case, I am not sure if this cue that I'm giving in this video, this trick, is going to work. So in case you go out and try this and it doesn't work for you, you should record yourself on video and look at yourself. Do I open up my shoulders and then drag the left arm down and hit with the right, or vice versa? So I'm also not going to go into solutions for that now. That's a quite complex subject. But just so you know that if you get frustrated, it doesn't work, this might be a cue for why it doesn't work. And if you have that cue, then you know where to problem solve in the future. Okay, cool. The next video, as I said, you won't want to miss that, because we're actually going to talk about how to create power into the ball with a smaller arm swing, which is quicker, which gives a lot of flexibility and can be absolutely amazing once you learn it. If these videos give you value to you, there's a few things you should do. You should subscribe to my channel. You should click the like button on the video. That helps this channel grow. You should comment in the comment section below if there's anything you're wondering about. You should also join my Facebook group where you can talk with me and other people following this project. And you should join my email newsletter, because the newsletter subscribers always get something a little bit extra compared to the others. So definitely join that email list, and I will see you later. No, I forgot one more thing. Share this video to your friends, because that's the best way for this channel to grow. And the more this channel grows, the more I can continue helping you guys. All right, see you in the next video.